Buongiorno. Dear ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Professor Dudler, I would like to thank you for the invitation for this first event of the Archmarathon in this old and nice and beautiful city of Milan. My name is Andreas Enger. I'm working in the Berlin Dependance. Thank you. An office of Max Dudler, who has two offices in Zurich, Berlin, and we are especially working in Berlin, Switzerland. And we are really pleased to present you the project of a railway station in Leipzig, which was completed in 2013 on December. The photo on the title shows a view along the platform and gives a first impression about the dimensions of the structure. To have a size scale, it is helpful to know that each square field of the wall and ceiling coverings based on a square grid of about 3 to 3 meters. The internal dimensions and coverings of the covering walls inside this great hall of the railway station are approximately 142 meters in length, 50 meters in height, and 21 meters in wide. Next slide. Next slide, please. Oder Helfer? Ah, here, it's my job. Alles klar. Okay. Okay. For our office, this project has a very special position because normally, as we are architects, we used to design buildings above the ground, visible for all citizens, and here we had to handle with an underground space who has full determined by the necessities of pure engineer construction and requirements of modern railway technology. Also, it's better to show the slide. It's not so boring. And this project also needs a very long time, nearly 16 years, which long time interruptions from the beginning till the end. The reasons, therefore, based on the special conditions of connecting the long new constructed tunnel buildings and the relationship in the construction to the other following railway stations on the line. No, second slide. Nevertheless, we tried to show that basic architectural ideas could be implemented also in a program of engineering construction. So we tried to creating a fascinating, spacious, and concise public space for citizens of Leipzig, and to speak of the sensuality of people by using fitting materials and light, and using all elements in precise details. As the project results as a first prize in an architectural competition in 1997, last millennium, and the railway is one of 4 new stations along approximately 5 kilometers long tunnel, which connects the great Leipzig Central Station with the Bavarian station in the south. And the construction of and the connections of the north-south rail link was one of the largest urban infrastructure ventures in Europe in the last decade. Client in principle was the German Bahn AG and the state of Saxony, and represented by the German Reunification Planning and Constructing Program Agency. Originally, the station should be in time for the Football World Cup in Germany in the year 2006 for the transport, ready for transport, but it didn't happen. So, in our work, we always have a look on the specific case of the locus, the place, the site. And for this project, we are fascinated by following analogy and decided to create this new railway station as a light-filled space in a depth of 20 meters below the ground. And the analogy for this was the room of the Medler Passage. This is this one, made in 1912, produced in Leipzig's Old Town, an urban space with natural light that falls through glass bricks here above and exposed, and thus has a very pleasant stay quality for the citizens. So it's very good receives also today by the citizens of Leipzig, and used for the purpose in our project, we use following elements, transforming into a new project, the use of backlit glass brick stones on the walls and on the ceiling, and a hidden arrangement of the light sources behind the panels of the glass brick stones for an uniform light output into the platform space. And the second idea was to create a modern abstract architectural space by using an most extensive integration of all technology and functionally related elements in the volumes and walls. Also, we integrated almost everything in ceilings, stairs buildings, entrance structures, and the service buildings on the platform, and reducing the number of materials in the building. So we mainly used reinforced concrete and exposed concrete surfaces and black painted steel. The bright polished terrazzo floor used on the platforms, forming a peaceful contrast to the seemingly endless grid of the glass blocks, and supports a desired bright spatial impression. As a result of this, a space is formed which by the repeated grids in a space has the effect of a certain extent due to the underground cathedral lighting, and that's it. That's the idea, and that's the success of the project. If you're inside the station today, you feel like to be in a real underground cathedral because of the lighting and the huge endless dimensions of the building. The stations lies here, and the diagram expresses the connections from the station to the modernized railway station, railway stations, Leipzig Central Station and Bayerischer Bahnhof. There's new connections in north-south directions, and it's a great advantage now for the city. Here is an aerial photograph, and this shows the relation of the old main station above here, the old city of Leipzig, and on the south, at the end of the old city, the site of the railway station. And the red circle is marking this place. The elongated underground space of the new railway station connecting the wide square of the Wilhelm Leuschner Platz, it's the name of the square, with the old town, and above the multi-lane routes separates the square from the city. Yeah, these slides shows again the relationship to the old city. The place is here. For the site, there was created a second name given in the opening in 2013. It's called Square of Peaceful Revolution, because in 1989, nearby at the Leipziger Gewandhaus, beside the site, also beside the square where the new railway station is, there was the regular starting point of the Leipziger Monday demonstrations. And despite the massive and sometimes violent intervention of police and state security forces, the public demonstrations remained peaceful and contributed to the demise of the old GDR. And therefore, it's the place of peaceful revolution now. Again, aerial view here, it's the beginning of the construction. Here is a site plan location map with one of the two entrances. The two entrances are directly in access to the cascade-shaped staircases and extended the platform and emerges the spatial effect. Also, there are two entrance buildings. This is a longitudinal section and ground floor plan. And this section shows the two entrances, again, who covers the cascade staircase and ascending escalators. Helpful for the impression in room, also for the physiognomy of the space, was the predetermined and given path of the railway route through the slight curvature of the tracks. Although this curve was very important for the room. Here, the urban maxims of Camillo Sitte seems to come true. He said in his books, the movement through an urban space, it is not only purposeful, always a human moves in a field of tension between short and long distances. And it's very agreeable that the room is not so stupid, straight ahead, but this little tension here is, it's good. This slide is concerning about one of the both entrance buildings. The entrance buildings to the stations are constructed in pure concrete and glass blocks or glass bricks. Because of town planning reasons, in the facades of the entrance pavilions, we really, that's one specialty, we refrain in two things to use glass blocks. It's a special point in this project. Instead, we use large format transparent glass windows to allow visual connections with the place. Although this, it has been a great discussion if it's right, because normally we like to use in all the project only glass brick stones, but yes, in this case, we thought it's better to have a look in the city. This slide shows, again, the hall from another point of view, and on the right side, the cross-section. The inner shell of the walls and ceilings are made of large backlighted glass block elements who are inserted into concrete square grid, and all closed surfaces are made of exposed concretes. And also all serving facilities for operation, running of the station are treated as sculptural objects and made uniformly into exposed concrete as in a massive way. Seatings, timetables, posters, ticket machines, all such stuff were installed and subtractive wise worked out of the concrete cubes to get really sculptures. And the end of the frontside walls here in the stations are covered with anthracite perforated steel plates, and this visually extends the space of the station. Then we have prepared some slides to show the sequence of construction. First, they produced lateral concrete walls in a thickness of 1 meter and 50. This is 1 meter 50. In a second, after that, there was a stabilization of the outer concrete walls and digging up the ground above for construction the ceiling. That's second slide. In the third sequence, they put on a huge concrete precast beams about a weight of approximately 19 tons on the beams to get a ceiling. And parallel, they prepare the subsequent access tunnels from top to bottom. And after that, there was manufacturing a waterproof concrete ceiling covered with waterproof coating, so that the ceiling is really secure. The next step was the construction of watertight concrete walls and inner walls and bottom, and completing all the inside concrete walls. Then there was a very, a very important sequence, the breakthrough of the opening for both tunnels at the northern frontside wall first, and after that the rest of the construction with platform, staircase buildings, elevators, escalators, and so on. And at the end, the installation of the steel substructure on the walls, and then the prefabricated elements with the glass brick elements. This section shows again the manufacturing of the tunnel. First, they began to dig with a really ground with a great boring machine from the station of the Leipzig main station and from the north, and then they brought the machine through the railway station and continuing milling through the ground the rail tubes towards the Bavarian station in the south. The next pictures gives an impression of the engineering works for manufacturing the tunnels. And the picture shows also the transport of the great boring machine during the construction time through the railway, through the railway station to the other side. This slide shows the tunnel under construction and the first successful and completed breakthrough at the northern wall. And here on the left side of the tube, the railway tunnel is closed with an inner concrete wall, and we got a new geometry for the glass brick stones coverings. And the right side shows the beginning of the building of the access buildings, access pavilions on the square. Here is again one of the entrance building. The descent into the underground is staged by the massive exposed inner concrete shell expressing the way to the ground. It's all made of concrete here. The ceilings of the pavilions are illuminated to give a sign for the square at night. Here is a sketch of the platform with the arrangement of the service spaces and the escalators. Under the stairs there are also the emergency retreat rooms for disabled persons and such stuff, and technical rooms. The 4 added drain volumes along the tunnel walls are built for allowing the passing of water under the stations. These are these buildings here. Now we are returning to the glass brick walls and the manufacturing of the glass brick walls. It's the ground idea of the whole project. The walls and ceilings coverings are made of glass blocks in all. Also, okay, sorry. All the glass blocks have the same design and are firmly molded in square steel reinforced concrete frames. Okay. And the whole backlighting of the glass brick walls and ceiling is placed behind the steel substructure. Also the lighting is behind these beams here. And so the lighting smoothly reflecting by white painted walls and ceilings through the glass bricks into the hall. This provides a maximum possible uniform illumination as possible. Also it's a very regular and smooth light who's coming out. Okay, we spring it. Here's the detail plan for the following pictures. This is a detail from the making of the glass brick elements. We use more than 135,000 glass blocks, and these glass blocks are made here in Italy. And then they brought to Karlsruhe in Germany for the installation in the precast elements. I can see it. This is a larger element for the entrance buildings. Another detail. Here it is the substructures. The substructures were covered by the concrete grid as reasons of fire protections. And some image here you can have a view on the substructure of the tunnel. Also here, it's the beginning of the construction of the ceiling. And this is my last picture now. The last picture shows the sequences of, oh no, sorry. I'm here. The final image shows the spatial situation of staircases and elevators, the view of rising for the passengers out of the way from the underworld to above, up to the light, towards the free space of the square at the edge of the old city of Leipzig. Now I will finish the presentation, and I hope that you have enjoyed this short insight into our work. And we thank you very much for your attention.